What's going on, folks? Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and let's talk D&D movie. Honor Among Thieves is set to come out in a little over a month from now, and we have some news in the form of an updated clip that's pretty interesting and could deal with something you might actually find yourself dealing with in-game, as well as a article that's going to tell us some stuff that we can expect to not find in the final course of this movie, although I thought some of us, myself included, thought we might see something alluding to that. So we're going to watch that clip. Hopefully it doesn't get demonetized, and then we'll read through the article and kind of talk a little bit about what we think that means, and do we think it's a good idea, bad idea, stuff along those lines. Before we do that, though, I wanted to talk to you about the sponsor for today's video, our good friends over at startplaying.games. Are you looking to get into RPGs? Are you looking to just find an RPG to fit in a time slot you have available? Perhaps you're looking to learn something new, or maybe you want to make money as a professional GM. All of those things are available here for you at startplaying.games. You can join a variety of different options. You can click this to find a game, and then you can search by a variety of different game systems, more than you've probably ever heard of in your life. Search from game type like one shot or campaign, or what I think is probably really interesting is if you just happen to find yourself with a free time slot and you're like, oh, hey, I'm free this date. Why don't we go ahead and say, what if you're free this Friday, the 24th of February you pick the time, weekdays, weekends, you can set up a whole search history here. But I'm going to say evening, 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. Now, this will also auto-update to your own time zone, so no needing to worry if you are playing in one time zone, or the game's being run in another. It's to your local time. And then you can just scroll down and say, hey, this game has a slot available. Let me jump in. Now, again, this is a professional GM service here, so you will be paying for your seat. But if you're looking to fill a time slot, possibly looking to learn something new that you haven't played before, or you really just haven't had a chance to scratch that RPG playing itch, startplaying.games has the opportunity for you. And if you look right here on the screen, for example, this one right here, Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern, The Frozen Below, a 5 Torches Deep Learn to Play. You could learn 5 Torches Deep for free. This one is there's not charging anything. And you'll see that that's a typical thing where a lot of folks will charge either reduced amounts, possibly even put things up for free for learn to play stuff. So if you wanted to learn to play 5 Torches Deep, this is free. You can scroll through and see a variety of different options from a variety of different types of games. Some are, again, listed as beginner friendly. Some are discounted. They have early sign up bonuses. There's a variety of different options here. So I think this could be a good way for you to possibly get into a game. I think that this, honestly, for having a big long list over here on the side of other RPGs that I want to get to know, I'll probably be using Start Playing to, pick up some games so that I can have somebody teach me how to play it in the course of actually playing it. You can also search for GMs if you're looking for somebody specific. But either way, I have GM'd on here in the past. I plan to get back into it more. I know I say that every time, but I'm hoping for real scheduling will a lot. So let's go ahead. First, and thank you, Start Playing, for sponsoring this video. Let's go ahead and click this trailer. It is from, I guess, IGN Fan Fest 2023. Let's go ahead and watch.
Okay, Simon, how does this work?
All right. Once the dead man is revived, we can ask him 5 questions, at which point he will die again, never to be re-revived.
Why 5 questions?
I don't know, that's just how it works.
Seems arbitrary.
Can we get on with this, please?
So I just want to point out that these are probably things you have asked in your games. This is obviously the casting of Speak with Dead. And yeah, it is 5 questions. And I think I've made a comment similar to this with like something like Sending, which is 25 words, and why 25 words seems kind of arbitrary. Same thing with Speak with Dead, why 5 words? Either way, here we go.
Right, yes. Perlamon tergatis. Maybe I'm not saying it right.
Also, I can't tell. This might be a practical effect. It's very well done, I think, personally. Let me see what you think.
I wasn't scared, nearly startled.
Here we go. Were you killed in the Battle of the Everhorse?
Yes.
Great. I mean, not for you. Sorry for your loss. 4 more questions, right?
Yes.
No. That wasn't for you. Did that count as a question?
Yes.
Damn it. Only answer when I talk to you, okay?
Yes.
Why did you say okay at the end of that?
I didn't.
Fantastic. Here's the shovel.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever had situations like this. I think we've all experienced something along these lines. You ask a question or sending, and you start I cast sending, and then you go, I don't know, what should we say? And you're like, oh, well, you've already wasted like 6 or 7 words just introing your question. So I really like that. And I do believe that was a practical skeleton effect. If it was CG, it's very well done. But I have seen a lot of looks at a variety of different things looking to be practical effects, which, I'm not opposed to CGI, but there's something to be said for practical effects. Also, nice to see kind of how the incantation in in D&D movie version of what Speak with Dead would look like, and the Battle of the Evermores. So perhaps it'll give us a little more insight into what we're dealing with.
We're facing the greatest
So, again, we can see we had our black dragon flying overhead. I think this is all stuff we've seen
the world
before.
has ever known.
And it said the greatest evil the world has ever known. We can clearly see the red wizards here, and this would obviously be Zast Tam, the Lich. We saw if we kind of back up a little bit there, you can see again, here are all of the various red wizards here. I'm assuming these are the people of Thay. People are running away.
We're gonna need a team.
We saw our paladin here with his fancy sword. We have our tiefling druid here. We have our human barbarian. And there was our, I think human, maybe half-elf wizard. Again, we see a little bit of a magic staff here. This is definitely a magic item from the art we have in 5e. It's like is there a helm of blasting or telekinesis or something like that? We can see we've got maybe a tidal wave spell here.
How are we gonna pull this off?
And then here they are once again making what is probably one of the stupidest possible moves of diving away from a displacer beast into a gelatinous cube. And we do have this one spell, which I've always wondered what this is, because I thought this was Magic Missile, but he's very clearly missing. Unless they're going to swirl around and come back and hit this red wizard. So it looks like that was a third blast, unless that was a shield spell. But either way. We have our sort of animated dragon here fighting the owlbear. And then that, get it over a drink. And then we see them running away from Themberchaud there on the bridge. So, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts regarding this D&D trailer. Did this, again, I know a lot of people are in the weird kind of in-between regarding Dungeons & Dragons post-OGL situation, so fully understand if you don't have any interest in seeing the movie. I also understand if you are interested in seeing the movie. Honestly, it seems promising from what we saw from some of the previous trailers, the practical effects, as well as what we saw in this trailer. It has a little bit of humor. Is it going to fall, is it going to kind of, I don't know what the word, I want to say fall hazard. That's not the right terminology. Either way, is it going to kind of fall into this situation where it's trying to rely too heavily on humor? Now, I think we've all had a D&D campaign, I assume, or we're looking to. And as such, that sometimes the campaigns start out with a very serious tone and then they kind of have either silly moments or devolve into just kind of funny, silly shenanigans. And this is the kind of thing I could see a DM doing. I probably would do this to my players if they were asking the questions in front of the dead body and be like, did that count as a question? Yes. Well, that wasn't for you. That kind of a thing. Definitely had that happen before. So I totally get it. Now, on to the thing I was talking about that we know for a fact will not be in the movie. And that is Dungeons and Dragons movie says no meta allowed. This is a Gizmodo article here. I think there's a comicbook.com article as well. Ever since the first trailer for the D&D Honor Among Thieves revealed itself in its goofy, sometimes quippy glory, there's been a question about if the marketing was hiding some meta elements. While recent TTRPG hits like Critical Role have played things straight, being meta is still fairly common when tabletop-inspired media hits the mainstream. Think about how many TV shows in the last few years have done a not D&D episode and frequently cut to the characters playing the game. The writing director duo of John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein was asked about this by IGN over the weekend. The pair confirmed that there's no meta in Honor Among Thieves. While it has something the pair talked about at one point, they opted to not break the fourth wall. This is not Jumanji, said Daly. There's so much fun to be had in the world of D&D that we didn't have to bring it into our world and show kids playing. Goldstein added that it would limit the absolute scope of this world if we were to sort of put it through the lens of the game being played. But while the film won't show ordinary people playing the game, the directors tried to echo the popular game by calling back to the game's mechanics and adhering to the rule of cool. All the spells and monsters and creatures they come across are authentic to the lore, but we definitely took some liberties to give you the most action-packed fun that we could. All things considered, Goldstein and Daly probably made the right call with playing things relatively straight. Fourth wall breaks aren't always played off well, and it would end up just undercutting whatever stakes the movie wants to have with its assortment of heroes and villains in both film and eventual TV form. So my point about this is a lot of people, we had this discussion when the trailers kind of first dropped. Would they possibly start this movie as people around the table sitting to play? And everybody's getting ready to play, and then it kind of like, and now our story begins. And it pulls us into the game itself. And now we're watching the characters, things are unfolding as the characters. A sort of Princess Bride style thing. And I think the reason a lot of us brought this up is I believe Chris Pine, at a point, said this movie reminded him of The Princess Bride. And a lot of us were like, is this going to have, Jesus, Grandpa, why are you reading me this book? Kind of moments where, like, we start off with, was it Fred Savage and Grandpa there reading the book at the start, and then it says, okay, and he starts reading, and it just kind of rolls into the story. We're watching the story happen, and would they cut away from that story to go back to the people playing around the table, which could have been a funny, silly way to play it off? But I ultimately think, at least it sounds like from this, that they're not going to do that at all. So we're not going to be cutting in and out, kind of like we did in The Princess Bride. And a lot of us were thinking that we might get like a post-credit stinger at the end of the movie, where it's like, okay, and like it ends with like the book being closed, and then it cuts to a table, and it's people around the table being like, same time next week. This is something that a lot of people have been speculating about. It doesn't appear to be the case, although technically, do you consider a stinger part of the film? So I guess there may be like weasel ways to get around and still have that stinger in there if you wanted. And then a lot of people said this would be a fun way to put like a lot of famous people who play D&D. Like it could be, Joe Manganiello, Vin Diesel, whoever you want to have there at the table. Or, even just silly people that aren't, Finn Wolfhard, people from, like, Stranger Things. Whatever you wanted to do, you could have them, like, be there at the table. Okay, same time next week, guys. And that's kind of the wrap-up. I still am kind of holding out that we might get that in a post-credit stinger. Because, like I said, that's not technically part of the movie. But it does seem like that they're worried about framing this in the meta aspect of being about the game itself will detract from the overall story that they're trying to tell. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think they're lying? Do you think we're going to get some sort of meta aspect, whether it's a post-credit scene or the last scene of the film itself? Do you think not having any meta in it at all is a good idea or a bad idea? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. I will see you all next time.